floor.
Without objection, the bill be considered as read and open for amendment at any point. The chair now recognizes himself for an opening statement. H.R. 354, the Leosa Reform Act allows qualified active and retired law enforcement officers to carry a concealed firearm in national parks, school zones, public transportation, and in some federal facilities that are open to the public. Leosa was initially signed into law by President George W. Bush in 2004 to exempt certain active and retired law enforcement officers carrying a Leosa photograph identification card from local and state prohibitions on the carrying of concealed firearms. In order to qualify under this legislation, active law enforcement officers must meet several requirements. For example, they must be authorized to carry a firearm by their agency. They can't be subject to disciplinary actions by the agency that could result in a loss of their police power. They have to meet certain firearms proficiency standards. They can't be under the influence of alcohol or other intoxicating substance, and they must not be prohibited by federal law from receiving a firearm. Retired law enforcement officers must also meet a number of requirements in order to qualify. For example, they must have separated from service in good standing and served as a law enforcement officer for an aggregate of 10 years or more. They're also required to meet certain firearms training standards and must not be prohibited by federal law from receiving a firearm. This act will allow these officers to carry a concealed firearm in the same manner that many licensed citizens carry a firearm in their state. For example, the Leosa Reform Act will allow qualified active or former law enforcement officers to carry concealed firearms in national parks, federal facilities that are open to the public, and other transportation in school zones and in other areas. The bill also reduces the frequency that qualified retired law enforcement officers are required to obtain certain qualification standards. Many states allow state licensed concealed carry permit holders to carry a concealed firearm in gun-free school zones and on public transportation in the state in which they are licensed. This bill affords certain law enforcement officers the same privilege. We must support our active and retired law enforcement officers and ensure that they have the ability to protect themselves and others, no matter where they are in the United States. This legislation is supported by the Fraternal Order of Police, the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, the National Association of Police Organizations, Major Cities Chief Association, Major County Sheriffs of America, and the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, and many others. I urge my colleagues to support this bill and yield back.